Earlier in the day, I welcomed you into my amazing 3-bedroom Santa Ana residence, wandered through the heart of Parque Libertad, enjoyed a wonderful meal, uncovered a story from the city's past, and stepped inside one of Santa Ana's most unique and captivating churches. But the day is far from over. There is still more of this beautiful city to experience, more magic waiting around the corner, and I have a feeling Santa Ana has at least one more story to tell. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to recognize some wonderful supporters. Carol, Laura, Terry, Bree, Victor, SG, Ships Ahoy, and Will. Your kindness, generosity, and continued belief in what I'm creating help make it possible for me to keep exploring, uncovering stories, and sharing these journeys with you. I'm incredibly grateful that you've chosen to be part of this adventure. Last week's top comment goes to Terry. Short, simple, and beautifully said. I'm so glad this story resonated with so many of you, especially the locals and those who grew up in Santa Ana but have since made their homes elsewhere. Salvadorans have an incredibly rich history and an even richer tradition of folklore, and it meant a great deal to me to share a piece of that heritage and then bring the story full circle by visiting the church connected to it. To all who continue to share your thoughts, thank you. I read every comment, and they mean more than you know. Please keep them coming. I've started a channel membership. If you're interested, click subscribe and then join for more details. I'm leaving Parque Libertad behind and making my way to the art school. I did attempt to follow the proper procedure. Apparently, you're supposed to get permission from an office inside the central library before entering. But when I arrived, no one was there and everything was locked up tight. So, it appears I'll be continuing without official permission. But let me tell you why this place is still worth a visit, whether you ever make it through the doors or not. The Jose Mariano Mendez School of Arts and Crafts was constructed in 1855, standing as a testament to both artistic ambition and architectural heritage. The building spans approximately 60,000 square feet, with robust stone masonry and mud bricks of varying dimensions, carefully bound with a mixture of sand and lime. Its ceilings were supported by wooden beams beneath a sheet and tile roof, while elegant interior false ceilings were crafted from tongue and groove Conocoste wood. Adding unexpected splashes of color are beautiful stained glass windows in shades of green, blue, red, and yellow, bringing light and vibrancy into the historic structure. Rectangular in plan, the building rises 3 stories along its main facade before tapering to 2 levels throughout the remainder of the structure. Once a proud center for creative learning, the school gradually fell into disrepair by the mid-1970s, as time and neglect took their toll. Though it had already been largely abandoned, it was the ravages of civil war and a devastating fire that ultimately consumed nearly 80% of the structure. Its ruins were later slated for demolition. Yet, in a remarkable twist of fate, that final sentence was never written. In recent years, efforts to preserve what remained succeeded, sparing the once majestic school from oblivion. Today, the crumbling shell of its former academy has, with poetic irony, become a work of art in itself, a silent monument to resilience, memory, and the enduring spirit of creation. I'm enjoying a lovely walk through Santa Ana, making my way back toward the livelier streets surrounding Parque Libertad. I had my camera out filming for most of the walk, but fortunately, I had put it away just before I caught my foot on an uneven stretch of sidewalk and went down. A few kind passers-by immediately came over and helped me back onto my feet. Exactly the kind of warmth and hospitality I've come to expect from Salvadorans. I wasn't in any pain yet, so at the time, I simply brushed it off and kept going. Still, I decided a chai latte might be just what I needed to lift my spirits. And besides, I definitely have another story to tell.
Chai latte con leche vegetal. Almond.
Okay.
Perfecto. Y cacahuatil blanco.
Sorry? Wait a minute. This?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Oh, and you also have kombucha, so. Manzana kombucha.
Okay.
También.
The white, right?
Sí. Perfecto. Y chai latte.
Here.
Yes.
Okay,
Aquí.
sure.
And tarjeta. ¿Está bien?
If you like pay later, don't worry.
Okay. Okay. All right. Gracias. During my studies of this country, I came across a story about Santa Ana that I found very interesting and somewhat similar to the Alamo, had the Alamo been successful. In 1885, this country was shaken by a coup d'etat that deposed a president.
The insurrection was led by General Carlos Ezeta, an ambitious military man who aspired to claim the presidency for himself. However, power eluded him at that time, and the presidency instead passed to General Francisco Menendez.
5 years later, in 1890, Ezeta once again seized the moment. He launched a second coup, this one successful, and toppled Menendez from power.
In 1890, Menendez died from a heart attack, likely brought on by the coup. In 1891, Ezeta finally ascended to the presidency, though his rise was marred by glaring irregularities in the electoral process. He installed his brother, Antonio Ezeta, as vice president and commander-in-chief of the army, securing his hold on the state through patronage and repression. Those loyal to him were handsomely rewarded. Those who opposed him were hunted down, many fleeing across the border to Guatemala, which steadfastly refused to recognize Ezeta's regime.
In 1894, a group of Salvadoran exiles based in Guatemala returned with resolve. They are romantically known as Los 44, the 44, though their number actually exceeded 500.
They captured, or freed, depending on how you see it, the city of Santa Ana. They transformed it into their stronghold. They were soon joined by 5,000 additional troops from Guatemala and Honduras. rallying under the banner of General Rafael Antonio Gutierrez, whom they declared the legitimate president. They launched a campaign to unseat Ezeta. The conflict that followed was complex and bloody, a series of battles too tangled to recount in full. As rebel forces advanced toward San Salvador, Carlos Ezeta abandoned the presidency and fled the country. Left behind by his brother, Antonio Ezeta sought asylum aboard a United States naval vessel stationed nearby to protect American interests. His request was granted.
And just like that, the insurgents had triumphed. The 44 stood victorious.
I hope you weren't expecting a happy ending. In yet another dubious election, General Rafael Antonio Gutierrez was installed as president. But even his rule would not endure. In 1898, he too was overthrown by yet another general in a cycle of military power struggles that would continue for another decade. In the grand scheme of Salvadoran history, the Revolution of the 44 was a small episode. But to the city of Santa Ana, it meant everything.
For its pivotal role in the rebellion, the city of Santa Ana received a distinguished place in Salvadoran history. It earned the title La Ciudad Heroica, or the heroic city. The honor forever enshrined it to El Salvador what Texas is to the United States, a symbol of rebellion, defiance, and national pride. So, Viva Santa Ana, and all that jazz.
What do you think about the Revolution of the 44? Did it mean something or nothing? Let me know in the comments. While you're at it, since you've made it this far in the video, please click the like button. It helps, more than you know. It genuinely breaks my heart to say goodbye to this charming little cafe. If you ever find yourself in Santa Ana, make a point to stop by Beats Coffee. The staff could not be more welcoming. The chai is absolutely delicious, and the beautiful setting makes it the kind of place you'll want to linger just a little longer. It's time to hit the streets of Santa Ana again, and apparently, my foot and ankle have decided the little fall I took earlier was, in fact, a bigger deal than I gave it credit for. Sitting down gave me a brief reprieve, but now the pain is catching up with me. To add insult to injury, the fall also did some serious damage to my toenail polish, which, frankly, feels unnecessarily personal. At this point, I'm not entirely convinced I should even be walking. So, it's time to call a rideshare and head straight for the mothership. And by mothership, of course, I mean the nail salon.
Let the fears fly away, ride it out like a wave, allow yourself some grace. You can have it, just like the wind, just let it pass through, just let it pass you. You do what you do, just like the wind, just let it pass through, just let it pass you. You do what you do.
First impressions. Apparently, it's Valentine's Day year-round in here. Everything is pink and red, and I'm absolutely here for it. I'm immediately invited to sit down and greeted by the sweetest lady who offers me water because the El Salvador heat remains undefeated. We don't speak the same language, but that's a minor technicality. Google Translate has officially entered the chat, and international relations are underway.
I realized on this trip that I have done very little self-care, so I've popped into Anita's full-service salon, which is listed on Google, but there's no sign outside. Fortunately, I just stuck my head in the door and there were people in here and they were so sweet. I think the lady that helped me out was actually named Anita, and she's so kind.
Just take my hand. You, are so young and light. 기다리는 날 모르니. Yeah, I'm ready. One step.
So I'm all done. It cost, well, it would have cost $15, but I brought my own polish, so that decreased the price to $12. When I paid, I gave the young lady a 20 and she brought me back $8 change, and then I just gave her the $8 because I don't think people understand how expensive the United States is until you leave it. What she just did would have cost a minimum of $30, possibly $40 at home, so I was genuinely happy to give her that $8 tip.
I had some dinner that I didn't film, and by the time I finished, night had settled over Santa Ana. There's still one more experience waiting for me here, but that story will have to wait until the next video. For now, here's what I've learned. In Santa Ana, days don't simply end, they unfold. In this city, I felt time stretch around me, with the past, present, and future layered softly together. And perhaps that's what makes a place like this so difficult to leave. Long after the day is over, something of it stays with you. A quiet reminder that every journey leaves a small imprint on the heart. Stay curious, be inspired, find freedom, wander elsewhere. I'll see you in the next one.